Welcome to the Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Hany Rambod. I'm here with my co-host, Austin, and we have a very special guest in the studio. We have the one and only Devin Bernardo.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Welcome. Yes. So Devin Bernardo, for those of you that don't know, has been an Evogen athlete now for going on, what, 3 years? 4?
Dude, I think like pushing four and a half maybe.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Long time.
It's been a while. I go by pounds, and it was like 30 or 40 pounds ago.
Say, if you go back and look at the old photo shoots we've done with you, it is wild.
That last one from 2020, man. I think my face tripled too. I was looking at him like the other day. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, we should compare the last video we did to this one just to see the difference.
Yeah, because we just got done doing a workout here in Dallas. We were over at Hidden Gym and got to see the owner, Greg McCoy, a really good dude. I've known Greg for a long time. He was the one that originally reached out to me to work with Steve Kuklo when I helped Steve turn pro and win the USAs. And it was great seeing him. This Kuklo Classic was this weekend. So depending on when this podcast drops, you'll be able to, if it's before Friday, or I should say Saturday.
Yeah.
If you're local, go to the Steve Kuklo Classic. Go see Steve, and as well as Greg, and I'm sure everybody in the area is going to be out there. He's always, I think honestly, Greg also opened up a second location too. So congrats to that.
Yeah,
he
second
opened
gym
up a second gym.
Yep.
And that's why I was like, why is there another gym? Popped up on my GPS. I was like, what? There's a second one? But it's been very, very great seeing you again, because the last time we were together was over 3 years ago. Right.
Well, we did the training app in between.
We did, but that was yeah, you're right.
That was a quick little thing.
That was like 2 days. We were out there. So for those of you that don't know, you have not signed up for the FSC7 training app, make sure you go.
Shameless plug.
Make sure you go. But the model on the FSC7, the athlete model, you're like are you consider yourself more of an athlete or a model?
I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete, man.
There you go.
Yeah. So he's actually the one that's demonstrating all the exercises that are in the FSD7 training app. So again, shameless plug. But if you haven't had a chance to go check it out, go check it out. It's on hanyrambod.com, or you can go to any of the app stores, both Apple as well as the Google App Store has the FST7 app. And the great thing about it was the fact that we were able to see you grow so much.
Yep.
Because now you're 25. Back then, I think you were 21.
When we did the app, I think I was like 23.
No, I'm talking about when we first became an Evogen athlete.
Oh yeah, 21. Yeah.
I think you were you were either 20 or 21.
Yeah, I was young. Yeah, I think I was around 21. Yeah.
And the reason why we signed you was because you literally cracked me up. Like, he is so funny on his videos. I don't know if you're still as funny, because maybe as you got older.
I think I got older and I got more boring and shit. I'm in bed by 10.
It was so entertaining.
Too much of a bodybuilder now, man. I'm just eat a meal nap.
Yeah, tell Austin, because Austin obviously wasn't around back then with the Evogen crew, but the situation where you would be doing these videos, tell him about some of the shit that you used to do.
I almost don't even want to tell him.
He doesn't want to drudge it back
you
up.
Have to, because you have all these listeners. You've got to be able to. You're on the Truth Podcast.
I was like, I'd make videos. I would edit it all myself. I would just say some really out of pocket shit. I was a big one-liner guy. I'd throw memes up, crazy memes up, say a one-liner, throw like a meme up or whatever throughout my videos. And like, I would do like kind of like skit type of things almost, but they weren't skitty. It would just like kind of be like an exaggeration of the truth of.
So this was what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Was this whenever you were starting to ramp up a social media following? Because that was that kind of Vine energy at the time.
Kind of that vibe. And then I started gearing more towards bodybuilding lifestyle, get my meal in, nap, gym. As the days went on,
because back then I think you had like
more.
200,000 or 300,000 followers. I think, back then,
around there. Yeah.
Which I'll say that you are one of the younger guys, which I say that being 25 also, but one of the younger guys in like the influencer industry that is actually does live your life like a bodybuilder. Like a lot of your stuff is very, I've noticed, very regimented, very kind of a little bit more head down, just working in a way and documenting some of it. You'll do like the challenges these days. Like you'll do some of the like holding the plates for as long as you can or different things, but it's not necessarily as skit related as a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, like when I first started too, like I was, like I bodybuild, but I was like, when I first joined Evogen, I took some time off, obviously, just to focus on like the social media business and everything like that. And just the last few years, I started just really like dialing down on the whole bodybuilding lifestyle so that I can, see how far I can take it. Now I'm just,
when you say dialing down, you mean dialing in?
Dialing in. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to hammer down on it and just try to,
well, did you, okay. So now you have to be almost like 1 million followers, or
I'm at 740,000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're there. And then how big is your YouTube now?
YouTube, it's in the 60Ks.
Yeah. Well, that was growing for a little while,
Yeah.
and then you kind of like left it for a little while.
Mm-hmm,
Why is that?
Well, I still post on there. It's just that I've been just like, I get into this mode where it's like, I go 100% into like one thing.
Right.
Like I put all energy into it. And then the other things start going more on the back burner. So, so back in the day, I would go 100% into my YouTube channel, social media, everything like that. But then the whole bodybuilding lifestyle would be, kind of sacrificed a little bit, right? Because I'd be doing everything myself, and I would miss meals.
I thought your brother was helping you.
Yeah, now he is. So now he does the full editing. He takes videos for me, the pics, edits everything now. So
you pay him?
I do. Yeah.
You get a discount?
Sorry. Oh yeah. I get a discount. Yeah.
You just
code Devin. Code Devin.
I think he just gives them some extra Evogen product.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if I'd be paying my
Here's some
brother,
AQ. Yeah. But he does all that for me. Yeah.
So for those that don't know you, obviously we'll put your link and everything down, but you come from a influencer / competitive background.
Mm-hmm.
You competed in the Olympia Amateur this last year.
Yep.
And I believe you did Classic, right?
Yeah.
You did Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you didn't do as well as you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you originally from Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been coming back and forth from the US for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I've seen you do a lot of collabs with Bradley Martin. You did a lot of collabs with just a ton of different people, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
When Canada was shut down,
Mm-hmm.
you were down in LA and over at Zoo Culture.
Mm-hmm.
And how was that experience? Because a lot of people had either went to Dubai or went down to Zoo.
Yeah. It was.
And
it
he
was
also
good.
got in trouble for that, by the way.
Oh, he was getting his shit. I remember that because I was like living, like I was staying with him at the time too. And I remember,
were you?
Yeah. And I remember like he was dealing with a lot of shit. He was like always on the phone with a lawyer, and it was a mess. But it was good because at that time, Canada was full blown lockdown. Like you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't do anything. It was hard to even get out of the country. So for me to get out of there, I was able to.
It was hard for you to even get out?
Yeah. It was crazy, man. It was do anything. Everything was locked down. It was like crazy. So you could only go to the grocery store and back, basically. So I couldn't. It's hard to get content, right? You can't film workouts.
Yeah, there's only so many things you can do.
Home gym.
Yeah. And then even there was some gyms that would even like let you in through the back, to train and stuff. But the problem is it's only such a select few people that can work out. But you're not.
Oh, and you probably can't even film.
You can't film
because you can't film because if they know
now you're dry
over
snitching now, and they're gonna have the cops come and arrest everybody. So for me to, I was in LA at that time, and I was able to just to like basically live my life normally, go to the gym, get content, while everybody else at home was still like left on pause. So
it's crazy that LA was normal compared to Canada, because LA
was
the
pretty,
US
in
was
California
the crazy
was,
lockdown.
Yeah, between New York and California, that was where the lockdowns happened the most.
Yeah.
And didn't you end up going to Florida for a little while too?
Yeah, we're in Florida for a bit last year. Same deal. Just the longer we could stay out of Canada during the lockdowns, the better, basically. So
how was Florida versus LA?
I like Florida better than LA, to be honest. Just the vibe of it. But the people are good down in LA if you're trying to get into like the whole social media thing and collabing with people, build your brand. It's really good for that. But
where'd you go in Florida?
Fort Lauderdale, Miami, around that area.
What's your favorite down there?
I like Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. That would be a place I would actually like legitimately want to move down there. It's like striking distance Miami, but
you can
Fort
drive
Lauderdale,
down, to live in.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So yeah, I really do like it down there.
Yeah, a lot of Canadians that like to go down there.
Yeah, I'm a snowbird, I guess you would call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you about when I actually technically met him for the very first time at the Olympia?
No.
We were sitting at, we went out for dinner on one of the nights, and it was the night of the Amateur Olympia afterwards. And three of us were sitting there from the Evogen team having dinner at Fogo, Fogo de Chao. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I see Devin walk in. You're with the whole team. I'm assuming it was like a clothing sponsor team, or
no, that was just my friends and family.
Just friends and family. Okay, so the friends and family all walk in, and I look over my shoulder and I told the guys, I'm like, oh, Devin's here. And he goes walking by, and Andrew, one of the guys at the table, goes, "Oh, what's up, Devin? Hey, you know, like it's us." And then Devin looks at us and just goes, "Oh, yeah," and keep walking. And then I go, "Andrew, you realize none of us have actually met Devin in person, and he just knows us through like email correspondence and text messages and everything." He's like, "Oh shoot, you're right." He just thinks it's a random group of guys sitting at Fogo de Chao calling out at him.
Yeah. So you didn't recognize any of the guys, right?
No, I didn't.
You never met us.
I never met him. I never met him at that time. So I was like, "What? It's good."
Yeah,
you're like, man, there's these fans,
random guys,
super famous.
And then he just went and sat at his table for quite a while, and I made sure, like, I was like, let's grab him after and explain, hey, we're from Evogen. We actually talked to you quite a bit through DMs or different things, and it was good after that. But at first, he was probably like, "What the heck?"
That's a good coincidence, though, that happened, eh?
Yeah, because it wasn't right next to the venue or everything. It was in Vegas. It was a little bit of a drive over there.
Well, it was like a
Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian steakhouse. Yeah. But I was going to say is you probably had that theme of everybody wanting to go get meat after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Yeah.
It's like unlimited. So for those of you that haven't been to Fogo de Chao, it's one of those events where it's literally an event, right? You go there and they keep bringing you different cuts of meat. It's a great experience. Except if you're a vegetarian, you just have a little blue. I'm sorry, it's a green versus red little card that's about the size of this, this little coaster here, this little plastic coaster, and then one side's green, one side's red. So while it's green, they'll keep coming over and bringing you food.
Unlimited meat,
different cuts. I'll tell you what it is. It could be chicken. It could be different types of beef, different cuts of beef, and they'll just sit there and slice it up right in front of you on these skewers, and then you'll keep coming back until that thing flips over to red, and then you're like, let me tap out.
That never happens. Why was that your choice afterwards?
That was actually one of our friends' ideas to go there.
I was going to say, because
did you like it? And I had been there before, actually, because I think there is one in California.
There's quite a few.
I went to one in California, and then he brought up going to the one in Vegas. So I was like, it's a good idea. And then it turned out being a horrible idea.
Yeah, I was going to say, how was that on your stomach?
Horrible, man. I was like distended like crazy.
Tore up, huh?
Yeah, it tore me up. But
well, you coming from a show where you're already carbing up and you got some
you don't even want to eat after, right? Yeah.
No, most of the guys want something cold, refreshing, some kind of liquid, because getting back to your hydration and cold fruit.
Fruit is great.
Cold fruit is something that everybody tends to crave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
literally.
I couldn't imagine going because just unlimited meat on a normal, for a normal day. I'm like, it's great. But I can't imagine going for that post show.
Right. You just find yourself just subconsciously, you don't even realize that you're just slamming like water, like at a normal rate. And then I think that's why I got mostly, I don't even eat that much food. It's just that you're just like, you just drink so much water without realizing, and fluids when you're coming from like such a dehydrated point. And then you just get like, your body just like holds everything, and you're like,
all the sodium and everything.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've, well, obviously this was the most recent show, but have you found stuff that works for you post-show, or was this just kind of like a misstep, or have you always kind of had difficulty post-show with stuff eating afterwards?
No, I'm usually good. Like I'll get it out of my system with like a day or two, and I don't like blow over or anything.
How much weight did you gain?
After in what time frame?
Just from the show? In the next 48 hours after the show.
Oh shit. Maybe I remember I got like up 12 pounds.
That's not bad.
12 pounds. But the problem is that
because what did you weigh at the show?
I had to be under 170. So I don't really force myself to get under there. So
For classic.
Yeah. Like I really am not naturally supposed to be down there like at all. Like I don't even like look good. Once I get under 175, my physique goes downhill like really hard. So at the moment I eat or drink anything, I'm shooting up, Is there a reason why you didn't want to do bodybuilding? Well, I just figured I don't want to be in that awkward phase where I'm too big for classic, but then I'm way too small for bodybuilding, And I just feel like a lot of guys end up in that awkward phase, and they're like, shit, I'm too far gone. Like I'll never make the weight for classic. So what's your height and weight right now? Right now I'm 5'6". I'm 5'6", and I'm around 195 to 200. I'm fluctuating between there. 5'6" is actually a good height for light heavies. Mm-hmm. So if you can, but again, it's a big difference between 170 and 198. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. It's a big difference. But if you can try to max out the 198,
a lot of guys at your height look really good, but you've got to be able to really grow your legs to be able to put that weight on.
Yeah.
Are you saying 198 is the cap for that?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know when it gets into the different bodybuilding weight categories. I don't know a ton about like where those fall, obviously.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is like, if I can't see myself like being at the top, you know, in that category, then I don't even want to bother doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but that's a misconception because the person who had that same misconception was Tamer. So Tamer, who now actually helps with all the production of the Mr. Olympia competition, I turned him pro. I turned a lot of people pro in that light heavyweight class. And that class, you always think, I want to be at the very top of the class.
Yeah.
And you don't realize, especially as an amateur, it's quality over quantity. So one of the main misconceptions is that I have to be at the top because some people who always just chase the scale, they don't come in shape.
Yeah.
And what happens at that point is unless you are a person who can get shredded at the top of your weight, you don't belong there. You just try to gravitate towards it because you think that all of a sudden you're going to be better in terms of placing because you're heavier. And that doesn't.
Sean Clarita. I'm just going to.
Yeah, look at Sean Clarita.
Yeah,
and, you know,
even when he competed as an amateur or things like that, like he was even way smaller or less, you know, weight wise than he is now. Obviously killed it.
But it's just a matter of you don't have to be at the top of your class as long as you have really good quality. Now, if you're like 4 or 5 pounds and you can suck down and go into middles or something like that and still look really good, then I advise somebody to do that if you're only a couple of pounds into the next weight division because you're really light at that point. So then it's just, okay, can you suck down and can you bring in the conditioning to be at the very top of that class without giving up body parts? Now, that's the thing.
In the amateur ranks, though, don't you, like, if you win light heavy, wouldn't you have to go into the overall to get your pro card and you'll beat the super heavyweights, the heavyweights now?
No, depending on the show.
Okay.
Many of the shows right now, like the Nationals here, it's the top 2 in each of the weight classes.
Oh, okay.
Then the USA used to be the overall. Then it became the top 2 overall. And then it became, like, even back when Tamer had done it, he had won his class, didn't get his pro card because he wasn't the one of the 3 when they gave 3. And then he had to come back and win it again and then ended up getting his pro card. But depending on the show, it depends on how many pro cards are giving out. So Nationals, I know for certain it's top 2 in all the bodybuilding divisions. The USA might be, I believe, top 1. I don't know if it's top 2 because that's kind of evolved at the USA. And same thing with junior nationals and whatnot, because those have morphed kind of a bit where they've added more pro cards. But the one that was always every single division was nationals, and then the nationals became top 2 for those. So,
do you think that those weight classes should carry on to pro? Because that's been a big discussion recently. Because people are like, "Oh, you go pro in a lighter division or something, and then you're dumped into 212 open."
No, so I mean, if anything, what I'm hearing more of is a lot of people saying that we should just get rid of the 212. And,
wow,
and
really?
I don't
go completely.
Yes,
do you think that's because of all of the 212 guys?
All the top 212 guys are going to open.
Exactly.
Right. So you have Derek, you have Hany, you have Sean. You have all these guys that are winning shows in the pros, or they're going in there and placing really well.
So they're just saying, just let it be, just open.
Yes. Wow. Some people are saying that. I don't believe in that. I'm going to be very clear.
Yeah.
I think you still need to have that division, but do I think you need to have an extra lighter division?
Yeah.
Like, do we need 180 or 175? No. I think it just ends up being a little bit too much diluted. But the 212 I think has a really good spot, and then if you can really get ultimately really, competitive and being able to step on an open stage, then be able to go back and forth and then decide how you want. If you do really well, then do what Hany and what Derek did.
Yeah.
But the amateurs, what's cool about it is that they still have a life after turning pro, where back in the day there was none. When there wasn't a 202, because you got to remember, back in the day before 212 it was 202.
Yeah.
So Kevin English, who I coached, was a 202 Olympia champion. Flex Lewis, I believe
Seth competed in 202.
He did, right? And he won here in Dallas, and we won that show together, Seth Feroci. But again, we were in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, and Seth and I were talking about it, and he qualified for the Olympia, just never did it.
Yeah.
Never did it. He just kind of made that big jump. We got to get him out here, do another podcast with him and talk a little bit about it, because you can tell he's got a little bit of that itch back. Oh, I'm not talking about that itch that he used to have back in the day from when he was single. I'm talking about when he had.
Geez.
That was a different
man.
Itch. That's for you, Seth.
Outing him.
That's for you, Seth. We'll use this one. We'll use that one on
antibiotics.
The yeah, no, antibiotics and some cream. He's gonna need some extra cream, Seth. You know,
reeling it back in slightly. Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, well, now it's question. Like, now if I say I went that route and I got a pro card light heavyweight, then if I went pro, now I have to compete against, in my head, I would have to eventually go up against a Derek Lunsford in my head, right? So
don't worry, I don't think he's coming back to 212.
Yeah, he's an open now.
or okay, then I would have
Sean
to go
Clarita,
or like or even that like Keon,
right?
You know,
so headline for this.
So
episode,
in my
Devin
mind, I'm like,
he can take Sean Clarita.
Yeah. No, but in my head, I'm like. Am I really gonna push my body?
Right.
To like, do I want to do what it takes to actually compete against that and like, you know, put my health on the line to get like that type of size?
Well, it's good at your age, and you're 25 now, right?
Yeah.
You're 25 now, that you've actually been able to think of that, because we talk about it a lot on the podcast, where you really need to know your place.
Yeah.
Because if you take a V6 in terms of genetics, because I like to talk about cars, and you try to go race them against V8s, you can go pump it up and add a bunch of nitrous, and you can add a bunch of modifications to it, but you're going to chances are you're going to break, because your
chassis has got to be able to hold it.
It's got to be able to hold on to that horsepower.
Yeah.
And if you're not built for that, because you're genetically not gifted enough to do it, don't do it. Stay within your lane. Doesn't mean don't compete. It just means either go classic like you're doing, so that you can fit that bill without having to be able to really put a stress on your chassis and frame, or don't turn around and just say, hey, look, I'm going to create a differentiation between where I feel like I want to be able to be comfortable in my own skin, weight wise, size wise, in terms of overall, health. And it's okay. And I think if people start thinking that way, they're going to actually compete more, because what they're going to do is they're not going to just completely check out, or they're not going to turn around and make themselves so sick from being able to be just considering yourself getting toxic to that level.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But if you just sit there and stay your lane and understand, hey, look, I'm going to take it to this point, then I am going to turn around and compete more often, but I'll be able to do it in a much healthier way.
People are not capable, though, of honestly assessing themselves. I think where they stand.
I think it's going to. I think that if more people talk about this, just like we have Devin doing right now, right? And we are able to really understand how you can be able to create boundaries and work within them. Get your blood work done. Make sure that, and this is even if you want to turn around and eventually go enhanced versus natural, any of those things, put together some goals and aspirations and make sure that you are realistic with any of the goals that you may have. Because if you are not, what's going to happen is not only going to be disappointed, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be turning around and you're going to end up usually going the other way. You get bad eating habits, you end up creating a really like this body dysmorphia situation in your brain. And what it does is it carries on to the rest of your life.
Because the example of, can your chassis handle it? It's not just physically. It's like, are you mentally able to handle everything that comes with that? Are you mentally healthy enough to be able to handle putting on that much weight?
I've worked with people in the past who have genetic gifts that would go far beyond 98% of the population, but they still didn't have it if they didn't win the Olympia. They didn't even have it to be able to continue. And so think of it that way. Somebody who has better genetics than 99.9% of the population that goes out and competes, but just because they didn't end up having that placing that they wanted, they gave up. They gave up. And so then you have somebody else who sits there and competes as an amateur over and over and over again. There was competitors in the past would give up their pro cards just to stay in the amateurs because they knew that they would be more competitive. There was no 212 back then. There was no 202 back then. And they would turn around and be able to do that.
Oh, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, but they would, because they're like, there's nowhere to go. So they would just stay there and they would stay competitive.
That's just wanting to stay a big fish in a tiny pond.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not tiny. It's just different.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, the pond is much, much bigger in the NPC, at least, in regards to the total number of card holders. So it's very, very large. But ultimately, that elite level, you have to be genetically gifted. Now you can be a little bit less genetically gifted to the person next to you and still beat them if you put in more work. But you have to be genetically
they all
gifted.
coincide to begin with.
Well, you got to have a certain amount of genetics, right, to be able to do really well at the Olympia or any kind of pro show. But the rest of it's going to be made up with hard work. Now, can you stress your body and turn around and do some of the things that where other people have done, which is try to make it up with just drugs? You can, but that's what's going to happen. You're going to break. Yeah. And that's where you have to turn around and pump the brakes, because so many people have either passed away, gotten sick, created situations for themselves that they've really, really just regretted. And I've heard from them personally. And they said, like, I wish I wouldn't have went down that road, because it was like this big ball of fire in terms of their career, because they just try to press it way too hard, because at the time they had a very young mentality. So again, kudos to you for not doing that. But the thing that I also want to talk to you about is the fact that you literally make a living. You're sponsored by Evogen. You're sponsored by Young LA. You're sponsored. Who else are you sponsored by now?
Just Young LA, you guys, and then I do my own coaching, my online coaching, and everything like that. So yeah,
you guys are both Evogen athletes and Young LA athletes.
That's
Look
right.
At you guys, team members.
You're with Young LA.
Yeah, you're a little younger LA than me.
Wow.
I'm a little bit.
You got a code Hany?
You know what? I probably do somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't. The funny thing about it is that I just love their clothes.
Yeah, they do have great clothing.
They have great clothing.
Yeah, they do. I saw you wearing the shorts today.
Yeah, I'm still wearing them right now. We were at the shoot. So one thing is that we did do a workout. So if you hadn't had a chance to see it, it will be running on my channel, or actually it'll probably be on the Evogen channel, because we had Tim out there, we had Sam out there, our videographers. They shot some really good content over at Hidden. And what we did was we did an arm workout. Yeah. And you almost puked.
I think
you almost did the Jay Cutler and almost puked during arm day.
He puked during an arm day?
I don't know if he actually puked, but I think that he maybe brought up. But he's so tough, he probably just swallowed it.
Yeah, swallowed it. Yeah.
Swallowed the puke. But I remember we almost puked if he didn't. But it was one of those things. It was a really good arm workout that we had. It was one of the first workouts we ever worked out together up in Northern California, up in San Jose at Gold's. But going back to you, putting all of these things together, Young LA, Evogen, doing your coaching. Is it something, where do you see yourself in the next several years? I mean, what do you aspire to do?
Well, for me, I've always been like super ultra just competitive. So I've always grown up playing sports. Before like the whole bodybuilding thing, it was always basketball. And then, obviously I didn't get taller. So I decided I'm going to go down the bodybuilding route. So now it's like, I just want to compete now, because I just want to I like just competing in a physical way, whether it's basketball, sports, or bodybuilding. So now I just want to see how far I could take this.
Well, and the cool thing is your father was a competitive bodybuilder.
Yeah. Right. He competed. My mom competed. And
I didn't know about your mom.
Yeah, she competed too. Yeah.
So your dad was in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So which weight class was he?
He was, I think he was always like middleweight. I think it was a middleweight. Yeah.
About your height, give or take?
Yeah. Around my height. Yeah.
And then your mom? What did she compete?
And then she did like, at the time it was like fitness. It was like that fitness category.
So did she actually do a routine?
Yeah. She had like her whole like routine and everything like that. And
that's cool. So that's like either gymnastics or a cheerleading.
Or no, not like that. No, she did like, it wasn't like a routine. It was like a kind of like a modeling type of walk thing that she did.
Huh.
Because fitness, the what we know now, wasn't around.
Yeah, like the whole like bodybuilding is like over the years.
It's been
really
around for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that one was. Okay, got it.
There was like a fitness model category.
Oh, it was a fitness model. It must have been something
category.
It must have been a Canadian thing.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because it was not an NPC thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're looking into the future.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm sure some of you out there listening would probably be like, man, I could just do some modeling. Yeah. In Iran, I've seen it. I've seen it overseas.
Yeah.
Where the guys come out in a suit and tie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
After they've been all gold, because they have that gold.
It's
tan over there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's before or after that round. So with the women in figure previously, there used to be a one-piece round and then a two-piece round.
Really?
Now it's just two-piece. In fitness, there was a fitness round and then there's a physique round. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be a one-piece, two-piece, and then also a routine round, or there might have been even two routines, but I can't remember exactly on the routines for fitness. But for figure, for sure, it used to be one piece and two piece. Then they cut it down to just two piece.
Yeah.
And then what they did was they would just do one then the other. But these other categories I've seen where they have like models, right? Where women will wear like an evening gown, like some kind of dress.
It's mainly that other, it's WBFF, right?
I don't know. I'm sure they do it too. I think they might do it too.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, but the thing in Iran is not WBFF.
Yeah,
It's whatever division is out there, association is out there. But what was different was the fact that I've seen it for the women for many years, but not for the guys where they're wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Right. Can you see yourself doing that?
No. I look horrible in a suit and tie.
That thing's got to be tailored. That's got to be. It's crazy seeing those like open guys in suits and just seeing how.
Yeah, but this wasn't open guys.
Oh yeah, I know there's more, but I'm just saying specifically it is.
So what do? They start with that and they just judge the face and everything? And
no, it's like what you're wearing. You're supposed to go over there. And then I think in some things, right, it's like a beauty pageant.
It's a bit more like pageant.
Yeah, it's a very pageanting thing. So you have to be really into that.
They judge your outfit.
Yeah, they judge your outfit. They also sometimes will like have you speak.
Really?
Yeah.
They ask you like questions?
Yeah, maybe they'll ask like spelling questions.
Wow. And then eventually
it's a spelling bee combined while you're on stage. Front double biceps,
like,
spell tuberculosis.
And then eventually they're posing.
Tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Pterodactyl. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. That is crazy.
He's sweating right now just hearing this.
Yeah.
He's like, holy shit, don't ask me your spelling questions.
That would be okay.
He's supposed to ask me to spell.
Maybe we could bring some of that, like your thoughts on climate change while you're on stage posing. It's like, oh shoot, I got to give an answer.
Oh man,
wow.
that's
crazy.
So that's why we were talking about it.
Wow.
So you're gonna. I think that you should definitely stay with classic. I think.
Yeah,
now,
I think so. And my only problem right now is that I am like right at the top of the weight class, and the whole heighting you in thing always sketches me out because they height you in different, right? All the time.
Every person.
All the time. So it's kind of like, and it's like a big jump between the weight. So if you're off half an inch, it's like 5 pounds.
Wow.
Right. So if they height me inaccurately, I'm 175.
In Canada, is it by half inch or
by
one?
half inch?
Oh wow.
It's like half.
I don't
think
think that's here. No. I think it's all by 1 inch, 1 inch.
And that makes a big difference.
It's a big difference. Sure. Yeah. Like so. Yeah.
Kid guy.
Sorry.
Yeah. You thought you'd get better with getting married.
No. It's
I think you're worse.
Just saying. But yeah, it does make a very big difference. And the half inch, I feel like we should do half inch. I feel like that would make more sense. So I don't know.
I think they already do here. They just gotta like round it up.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, wait a minute. This guy's got a nice hairline. Let's go ahead and round it up.
Because guys do. Is it that I feel like it's kind of 50-50 because some people do want to be bumped up into that higher class so they can retain more weight. They don't have to cut as hard to get into that. But
there's otherwise the opposite
that want to be underneath it.
Right. So that they can be the top of the other class.
Because I've heard some people hanging on those inversion tables or doing different things to try to elongate themselves.
Did you do that?
I need to do that. I need to do it because I'm at the point where I'm just getting in by like an inch or by like a pound. But I'm like literally like I don't eat or drink for like 2 days basically, and I'm
trying to make weight.
I'm in the sauna like losing water.
And it's the night before, right?
Yeah, and then my body looks like shit because I'm like
because you've sucked down.
Yeah, and then no matter how much I carb up, it's just now it's like tricky, right?
Right. So a lot of the things that you're learning right now, is your dad helping you?
Yeah.
So your dad's actually coaching you.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how far did he go in his bodybuilding career?
So he just kept it amateur. He didn't because he had a full blown job. He had a full blown job. So he had a real job.
Yeah. Like you bodybuilders out there that are playing video games and going on social media.
Yeah. He had a full blown job.
What does he do? What's he know?
He runs like retirement homes and like long term care facilities and everything like that, and within Canada. So he's been doing that, and then just he used to bodybuild on the side. He doesn't do it anymore now. He just kind of helps me out with it.
Does he still train?
Oh yeah, he still trains. Yeah, he still trains. He's still jacked.
You guys have done some videos together, right?
Yeah.
Some like curl videos where you guys are both curling.
I did see a couple of videos. But I didn't know if that was old. How old that was?
Yeah, that was back in LA last August. August. Yeah.
So not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah.
What about your mom?
She still works out, but after the whole COVID thing, she just kind of she works at home now. Yeah, we got an at-home gym now going, and now she just works out there, gets it done real quick.
That where you got a lot of your athleticism or just health mindset? Was it directly from the family? Did you have some sort of
I feel like obviously like growing up around people, you're always in the gym. It just was so normalized to me that like go to the gym. It would be weird if you didn't go to the gym. Like I was that kid like in the like the babysitting room in the gym all the time, and then the moment I could actually go work out, I just like jumped on the opportunity to start working out right away. So yeah, for me it was just always normal.
So I wanted, and let me know if you're comfortable with going down this road, but you gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You gained a lot of muscle in the last 3 years. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
So what did you do different? Because obviously Evogen will take you very far, but it ain't going to put you 30 pounds on you.
Yeah.
And we don't ever pretend that. Does it help your pumps? Does it help recovery? Does it help with great tasting protein? Absolutely. But it's not going to put on 30, 40 pounds on you.
Yeah.
So did you sit down and say, hey, look, I'm going to start, being able to start going in, dipping my pen in that ink and say, hey, look, I really, were you natty before?
I was, yeah. So essentially, like, after we did that photo shoot in LA or California back in like 2020, I came back and I'm like, at the time, everybody thought I was a fake natty. Oh, he's on steroids, all this. And I was like, and I came to the realization, like, I want to start competing again. And I already had competed naturally. I won natural shows at the national level, everything like that. And I was like, I kind of felt like I already kind of like ran that dry, and I kind of took it as far as I could. And if I really wanted to like push bodybuilding as far as I could, then I would eventually have to go down that road. Right. So I hopped on PEDs, and I just started like living like an actual bodybuilder ever since, and just eat, train, sleep, and just take it to that next level.
Did you go to your dad with it at all, or what?
Yeah.
How did you handle that? Because I always say, hey, look, try to wait till you're in your mid 20s. And now you're 25, but obviously it's been a couple of years since you probably started. You jumped on. So right around that range. And you also had your father to be able to bounce ideas off of, which is really cool, because he's been able to kind of help guide you to a direction. Was that a comfortable conversation?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, well, obviously he didn't want me to do it.
Right.
But I already kind of had my mind dead set on it. It was kind of like in my head, I'm like, I'm going to make a career out of this type of thing, right? I'm like, I'm all eggs in this basket. I want to, like, I'm doing social media. It's going to help grow my brand. And, I'm just a competitive person too, right? Like,
because you wanted to really try to be able to take it to the next level.
And I'm the type of guy too, like, I don't want to be doing this in my 40s, obviously. I want to get in early and get out as early as possible. So if I can hit my goals that I have in my head earlier, then that's better for me.
What's your goal?
Eventually, I want to get there on the Olympia stage.
Okay.
What category that is, if it's open or classic physique.
Well, I think we all agree the open is going to be a bit different.
Yeah, right? That would be crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's
it would be
what I'm
more
saying.
either classic or whether you go into possibly 212.
Yeah.
But I think that's more of a realistic.
Well, I think classic is good. I just like, if I get pro in the classic, it's good because my weight cap goes up by like 10 pounds. And then I actually have room to grow. Right. But right now it's tough because it's like, it's hard to improve on your physique without getting heavier almost. Right.
Right.
And when you have such little room to work with your weight cap, you're in the gym and you're almost like holding yourself back subconsciously because you're like, oh, I can't gain too much weight. Otherwise I might not wake my weight cap. So that's the kind of crossroads I'm at right now with everything.
Well, again, now, unsolicited advice. After seeing you today, a couple of things that I would say is just you have great arms, right? You're known for your arms. That's your best body part. If you can just build a little bit more density through your chest and your back, create a little bit more of that 3D look.
Yeah.
You don't have to gain a lot of weight, but a lot of people think that the bigger is better. And what that means is that you don't have to add more weight to actually look bigger. And the way you do that is by just being able to really hit more of those FST7 high volume sets through your chest, through your back. So that way you get that more of the bubbliness that's going to make you look bigger, but keeping your weight actually down. So therefore you don't end up adding more to your midsection because especially a guy your height, when you end up putting in a little bit too much weight and you have to work within a weight cap, what ends up happening is you end up getting thicker, but not really rounder and fuller. So you need to keep your weight down to respectful. How much do you weigh now? 195. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's good. 20 pounds within your target weight, 190, 195, keeping it there. But really just continuously trying to get harder in the off season and getting rounder and putting in that work in your chest. That's where I feel like you could be able to do more because you're so three-dimensional through your shoulders and arms, but it just takes away even more from your chest. And you're not the widest guy, right? So making sure that you can work on that to be able to really increase that visual three-dimensionality of your physique when you're up on stage, because it'll pop even more without having to be able to actually add weight. And a lot of people think that I just got to get bigger through the chest, so my weight's got to go up. And that's not necessarily true. What you do need to have is just rounder, fuller muscle bellies. and being able to do a lot of the stuff that we did on the app.
Yeah.
You gotta actually follow through. But I do see you do some of the flex sets, and I see that you're doing some of the exercises.
I do. I've been really trying to implement it. I'm like, just trying to, dude, I'm pulling everything out of my woodwork to try to make this chest grow right now. Yeah. It's just been going against me. So, everybody has that body part unless you're Phil Heath, basically. Well, and for mine, it's that.
I mean, obviously his genetics are, not just his arms, but all over, all his body parts are very 3D. And he's been able to really accentuate that through the years as he was competing. But I do feel like you do have some really good body parts. You just got to be able to continue to keep growing.
Yeah, keep growing them. Yeah. Like for my upper chest, after seeing today, like what would you say like you would want me to do to, try to just blow that up a little bit?
I think that what you really need to do is really focus on being able to do dumbbell work and a lot of fly work. Using a bench. Today we did arms, but if we were to do a workout, I would have you do an incline bench within the cable crossover machine, so that help you focus on being able to really get that mind muscle connection on the upper pec. Okay. And being able to do that. And then all of that dumbbell work that you see me do with Chris or with Hany, Derek, Andre, I've done a ton of those videos where we're doing kind of more of the neutral grip pressing on the incline. Yeah. So with the palms facing each other. Okay. And being able to do that with dumbbells would go a long, long way for you.
Do you think that the arms and the delts are pulling from the chest growth because they are more overpowered? And because I'm thinking that's because I've noticed that I've always had the inverse problem of most guys, young guys. It's my
You're
chest.
Too big?
My chest, no, that's not a problem. Unfortunately, that's not the problem. No, but my chest and my back always kind of overpowered. My arms have always been very small. And so, but I've noticed that usually it's kind of the inverse where most guys have arms and delts, but they have a hard time with back training because usually they're pulling things with their biceps more. They're not necessarily engaging their lats. Or inverse with chest work, they're usually just using a lot of delt. And it's kind of just causing more of that kind of rounded over look where it's not necessarily, they're not expanding and actually growing chest because the arms and the delts are pushing with triceps and they're letting their, would you say that could be part of it? He's got crazy arms and delts.
It's always a part of it.
Yeah.
So usually you have somebody that has either really good arms or really good back. So you either have a Dorian Yates or you have a Lee Priest. And so somebody that is able to pull that way. And then again, part of it's genetic. Some of it could also be if you could have added in. It's like my question is, if Dorian Yates would have used higher volume training in his arms, would have his arms been bigger and grown versus his high intensity training for his what he normally uses?
There's always those what ifs.
What ifs, right? But when you look at somebody like Devin, you can say the same thing. You can say, is he probably pushing with his delts? Yes, that's why you'd have to try to arch your back, bring your delts out of it, and really try to focus on being able to really focus on your chest. And I think that you have to use multiple angles, and you also have to try to get to failure. And and you can do that with two ways. You can do it with machines, or you can turn around and even do it with like what we were doing today when I was trying to work on your triceps. And I said, you're not working on that outer tricep enough. The back head of your triceps is very thick and it helps fill out your arms on that front double bicep. But from the side, the outer tricep is which gives you that three-dimensional look on that front relaxed is lacking. And when we did single arm reverse,
weak as hell.
Weak as hell. Weak as hell. But your arms are your best body part. Yeah. And why are they so weak is because you're not used to working that angle. So you have to be able to put that mind muscle connection on your chest. So to be able to hit those angles, you do got to be able to pinch your shoulders back a bit, bring the shoulders out of it, and try to focus on their pecs. Yeah. And you can do it with also just different kinds of machines as well. And just, you got to bring your chest forward and your shoulders back. Yeah. So, to answer your question, yes.
Because I think that's a very, very, that's one of the most common things I see within young guys. A lot of young guys have big delts, big arms. And then it just tends to be that the chest is kind of a difficult, which I've always just genetically had a large chest. I've not done anything for it. Yeah. My last show, I trained chest pretty much once a month.
When's the last time you competed?
It's been a while. It's been like maybe 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. But just with that, people will come up like, oh, what did you do for your chest? I'm like, man, honestly, I can't give you. All I know is that whenever I did train chest, I had really, really good mind muscle connection with my chest. Always suffered a lot in the arm department. I could never connect.
Did you ever get a good pump in your arms?
Now I do. I feel like actually this is the first, like maybe the last 4 or 6 months, I've started to actually make some progress on my arms.
And what did you change?
I've just
cadence, tempo.
Yeah, it was honestly, and weirdly enough, I've kind of stuck with almost the exact same arm workout every single time. I've found some things that's just more or less working on increasing weight, but I've found the few movements that really, really, really feel good, and I can actually start to connect with them. But chest and back, super easy, because I could, flex individual portions of my lats, my lower back. I could do all of that, but I could never connect with my arms. And that always made it difficult whenever I was trying to talk to other guys in the gym. I'm like, because they're like, oh, I can train arms and chest all the time, or arms and shoulders, because I could never feel my delts when I was training. I could never connect with those. But I feel like what you are experiencing is a lot more common, where a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, I'll train arms and shoulders all day long, but I can never feel my chest.
You also have to remember, when you have shorter arms like Devin does, it's a bit easier to fill in your arms. You have long arms.
Yeah.
So when you have long arms, it's also a lot more to be able to fill in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
has a lot to do with it.
It's just cool. I've always found that just so interesting. It's obviously biomechanics and studying how different people's insertions and things affect training is just obviously super fascinating. But I think that's why this is a super interesting one, just because there's a lot of guys who kind of experience the same thing, where it's just really difficult to kind of get that upper chest, the shelf, and to start to fill that out a bit more.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. Like I get crazy. Like when I focus on it, I'll get crazy pumps, and then it explodes, but then I go home. Flattens out. Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. And it could be also the duration of pump. So you need to make sure that you stay fuller, but how often? So it's frequency of training. So a lot of people go, okay, well, Dorian or this guy or whoever it is that they followed only did it once a week. And I feel like most body parts can be trained twice a week, especially if you're enhanced, because you have the ability to be able to increase recovery. But that doesn't mean that you can eat like shit and not take supplements and not get enough rest, because all of those things are still going to limit you if you don't have those boxes checked. So those are things that you really need to be able to make sure that you're on top of.
Which nobody gets. Everybody thinks that PEDs, you don't need all these. I'm like, no, the PEDs are just amplifying all of those things.
You're just adding construction. You're just adding construction workers. When you add in PEDs.
But if you got no bricks, you can't build anything.
If you don't have any bricks and you have no plans, you're going to end up building some really messed up shit.
So you're going to open. That's what I'm hearing. You're moving into open now? That's what I'm hearing from all this?
The other thing was that we talked a little bit about it while we were training.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about your skin.
Yeah. Well, obviously, when you go on like steroids, I was like, what side effects am I going to get? Right? Am I going to get all anxious and weird or anything like that? But for me, I didn't get any until I came off. And then I got back acne and actually I got a little bit of it, and it wasn't even that bad at first. I started taking Accutane.
Ooh.
Yeah, I started taking Accutane to try to tame it. It wasn't even that big of a problem, I'd still take my shirt off, didn't really care about it. Started taking Accutane, exploded, like
really
places I've never even had it before, and it went to like a 12. Like started going down my arms even. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, and Accutane, for those of you that don't know, is extremely toxic.
So strong.
I ran 1 or 2 cycles of it when I was a kid, 13 years old, because I had cystic acne growing up, and hereditary. My mom had it, and it was something where and then playing football, and having anybody who's played football knows that, putting on your helmet and your chin strap just really aggravates it because of the abrasions that you have. It's just the abrasiveness of the chin strap and all the pads that are inside the helmet. And a lot of it has to do with also your genetics and your hormones, because your sebaceous glands are going nuts. And that's kind of what happens also with taking gear, right? So what happens is your sebaceous glands go up, and then the hormonal imbalance. So even if you take something and you don't get acne, just the fact that your ability for your hormones to now have to go back and they're trying to reset, where your estrogen levels are higher, but then now your testosterone's dipping, and then the ratios are all messed up, then that can also exacerbate your sebaceous glands to go crazy. And then, like you said, after you came off, because they probably weren't level properly, what ended up happening is then your sebaceous glands go nuts.
You kind of step on a seesaw by starting.
You do. You do.
It's really hard to find that balance again.
You do. So I get this question all the time. So everybody asks, like, well, what do you do? What do you do? And number one, you got to have hormone management. You got to just make sure that you balance out your testosterone to your estrogen, those types of things. But you also need to try to keep the cleanliness of your environment. And what I mean by that is, like, don't go to bed without showering.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure sometimes you might even have to shower twice a day.
Yeah.
You got to stay on top of it. You're going to have to sometimes use medicated soaps to dry out your skin, and within reason, because there's a balance to everything. Because if you end up doing too much of it, because you're going to get everybody in there like, oh, if your skin's too dry, your body will react and try to overcompensate. Yeah. But what most of my athletes, I would have them do, especially when I was working with a lot of amateurs back in the day, is the oxy wash, right? So the oxy wash, which is benzoyl peroxide washes, were great. And then adding in just a little layer afterwards, after you take a shower on the areas that were basically inflamed.
Yeah.
But if you have really bad acne, like let's say you have cystic acne, which that's what I had, is that you would then have to turn around and be able to have to possibly run a cycle of Accutane.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2, depending on how bad it is. But the inherent nature of acne is that you're going to end up having a ton of oil, and that's what really causes the bacteria growth, because of the oil. So you need to be able to change your clothes, change your pillowcase. You're going to have to change your sheets, on top of the fact that you got to shower. So as you're going into that sleeping environment, you got to have a clean environment, because even though you took a shower and you went into clean sheets, now if you sweat during the night, like some people do, especially if you're taking PEDs or if it's hot or just in general, you still people think, oh, I took a shower, I don't have to clean my sheets, I don't have to change my
it's ridiculous.
My thing that often, my pillowcase that often. And that's absolutely not the truth.
No.
You need to stay on top of those. Because if you don't, what you're doing is you're just kind of reinfecting yourself because of these dirty pillowcases. So ends up happening, it can become a mess.
I think that, and obviously there's a lot of guys out there that are going, oh shoot, I haven't been doing that. And like, I am somebody who can get acne sometimes. So that's why I know that like, if I do certain things, it's working, meaning like it can happen at times, but legitimately ever since I got into a system of shower every single morning after training, shower literally minutes before bed, and then just regularly, like even every
jump
4 or
from
5
the
days,
shower straight
in it.
Don't just air dry.
But every morning, every night, and it doesn't involve a ton of crazy products and everything. I'm like a 5-in-1 kind of guy, like the one that's like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and toothpaste.
Yeah.
It's like all of the stuff in one. No, like all the stuff. Like you don't need anything. I think it's just be consistent and like literally you go from that gym straight to the shower and do not, because I'll see people who will like go train and then they'll just go hang out on their couch. Then they'll go out to lunch with their friends. They'll go do whatever. I'm like, bro, you were sweating on your back.
Yep.
And that's why you're getting acne.
That's right.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Different circumstances. Obviously, we're traveling.
No, I am a 2-a-day guy though. I shower twice a day. I have to. But I found what really helped too is Nizoral. I don't know if you've ever tried that. Like
it's an antifungal.
Yeah, it's good for your hair, but good for the body too.
Keep your hair. So if you're ever thinking of keeping every single follicle, it does help a bit.
Luckily, we got strong hair genetics, or the bald spot under the hat that everybody thinks is
I'm
there.
big on Nizoral, man. I always have that.
Did you have acne in high school?
On my face. I never had anything on my body ever.
But you were predisposed to having some.
Yeah. I thought going into doing steroids, I'm like, my face is gonna blow up. I thought that was gonna be the thing, but nothing on my face. It just
went to your back.
It just went straight to my back, shoulders.
Which that can be really painful.
It wasn't even on my back at first.
Absolutely.
It was just like a couple, boom, boom. Not even a problem. Take the Accutane, huge issue. It was just like, oh my God.
Have you dealt with like comments and people talking about it on social?
Yeah. Like nothing that bothers me, but like I'm cognizant of it.
How do you handle that? How do you keep it from bothering you?
I just don't really care. I think after like just being on social media for so long, it's just you kind of hurt
thicker skin.
Yeah, you've heard it all already, and it's just I don't know. I just never been the type of person to just really even care. And I feel like if people if it's a day where people don't say anything about it, then you're in a bad position, right? You almost want people to like,
notice you.
Yeah, notice it. Yeah, talk shit. And like, if no one gives a fuck, you're like, oh shit, guys, look at my acne. Doesn't it look like shit? I'm bleeding.
Well, that's the other thing too. For you, the guys out there at the gyms that are taking off their shirts,
bro, it's so bad.
It's so gross because you take your shirt off, you go onto this vinyl material on a machine. You're sweating on it. Somebody else has sweat on it. And it's bad enough that people sweat through their shirts and don't clean the machines. But when you have just bare skin on there, it's my biggest pet peeve. When I see people at the gym take off their clothes and they're like, I'm going to pose in between sets. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it's part of life, right? But when they're sweaty and they're putting their body up on a press, it could be a hammer strength press, and then they're putting that back up against there, and I'm just sitting there just scratching my head going, are you kidding me?
How do people not comprehend
They don't.
how dirty that thing is?
It's absolutely disgusting.
It's nasty.
You were literally
You know
giving
what's even grosser though?
What's that?
Oh shoot.
When someone puts their face into a bench. Like
reverse
face down,
the,
like
pec
my,
deck or
I
something
want to
like that
vomit.
with that,
I want,
yeah.
You know those like convoluted benches where someone will do rear flies,
Yeah.
and they're face down, like mouth and nose,
and
like,
it's like a massage
my
bench.
God.
They're just like
I'm
pressed
I'm
into
like, you are,
it.
I'm like, that is nasty, man.
Yeah,
Nasty as
that's
shit.
oh,
Like someone, it's like someone barefoot taking a pee at the urinal. It's just like you see it and you
that's
just
psycho behavior.
You know
No, I don't have. I don't know what they're doing in
Like,
Canada, but I'm really seeing that around here. Nobody.
at like a water park or something. You just walk into the urinal, take a leak.
Water parks are a whole nother animal. We can
nasty.
get down
It's
that.
like
That's-
that vibe. I see it. I cringe.
That's how Derek
that's
had all
how
of his
Derek
issues.
got his issues last year.
Really? Oh wait, we're on his feet.
all from a water park.
No, he got a infection because he had a bad sunburn
Oh.
because he had gone deep sea fishing.
Oh.
And then what happened was he went out to the boat, got burned because he's
Deep
Clorox
sea
white.
fishing makes it sound like he was disposing of a body
Dude,
out there or something.
I
when
still
he's saying
don't.
deep sea
I'm like
fishing.
deep sea fishing because there's no fish. I don't know if he knows how to fish.
He didn't have an Instagram photo
He didn't have
holding
an
a swordfish.
Instagram photo.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, the guy is as big as he is. He should have just jumped in the water and just grabbed a shark, like a mako shark, and just got wrestled him, threw him back up on deck.
That's sunburn,
Yeah.
man.
That's it. So he went over, got sunburned, went to a water park. And the reason why I was so pissed about it is that he forgot to tell me about the water park. And I'm trying to figure out, he goes, I got sun poisoning.
Sun
Poisoning. And I'm like, sun poisoning?
Because his legs were covered.
He had
it was really bad.
an infection from the water park.
Disgusting.
And because he had such a bad burn that it was blistered.
Yeah.
And so when you went to the water park and you have the disgusting water that,
It's half
fecal
urine.
matter,
Yeah.
urine, fecal matter. I wouldn't, urine's not even as bad. I mean, it's fecal matter that you're worried about.
Yeah, like,
because most of the urine is,
sterile, right?
sterile.
You could
Yeah,
drink
it's not,
pee.
I'm sure I don't go out of my way to try that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, shit is shit. And
That's
and there's
shirt right there. Shit is shit. Jeez.
and there's tons of shit in there, and there's just bacteria.
Because you guys didn't find out. You didn't find out about this until into the Olympia prep, like way later on, right?
No,
Didn't you?
no. I found out about it before the Olympia
Oh,
prep,
I thought it was in there.
but it was kind of like in the middle of the Olympia prep because I'm trying to figure out why his body was having such issues. But also when we went to Houston to that trade show, we were shooting and his legs were covered. You saw that.
He was almost like red bumps / sores. Scabs.
Sores everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was because of the infection.
Yeah.
No.
So
I stay away from water parks. They gross me out now.
yeah, well, I told him, I said,
no.
You forgot that part? And he's like, oh, you think it did anything to me? And I was like, I'm going to kill you.
I will kill you.
Yeah, he's like, Derek, I love you, but I want to choke you right now.
But it gave him so many
forgot
crazy
about that part.
symptoms because he was very sick for a really long time.
Yeah, he was nauseous. He was because his body was fighting this infection that was caused by the blistering and then the open sores being infected with bacteria.
Some random kid in it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
oozing pus and all that.
Yeah. He had
Wow.
like, I don't know how bad the pus is, but I know that they were like really bad sores.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I'm like, okay, so now you're telling me this. Now it's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
So then he had to go on antibiotics because they were going to give him cream, and they're like, oh, this cream's not working for this sun poisoning.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's because it's not sun poisoning. It's you're infected because you had open sores and you went to a water park. And this is what happened. And so we need to get you on. And so when he started the antibiotics, he started getting better.
Yeah.
But that
Can
was
he
it.
fit on a water slide?
Dude.
That's an honest question. Legitimately.
He probably
No
was
idea.
like those memes where he just like
halfway
launched
through.
and he passed the pool. You just launch and he went past the pool.
I'm just imagining his lats just getting stuck in one of those tubes because he's just like a Dorito.
That or he's
way
going to
too
fly
long.
like a flying squirrel and
That's
his
true.
lats are going to just catch air.
That's true. It's like a turtle shell. He just kind of just like glides down. I don't know. We'll get him on the podcast. Talk about it this week too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be in.
He's heading out here
tomorrow.
Yep.
He'll be in town, and again we were shooting a bunch of different content for Memorial Day weekend because as we're going to probably be launching this right beforehand.
Yeah.
And did you get a chance to try the new stuff?
I did. Yeah.
What did you try that was new?
I tried the EVP AQ, the flavored ones.
Which flavor did you try?
The sour apple and then the watermelon. I like the sour apple one. It's just like a straight shooter. It's better. I like it better than the EVP, like the non-flavored one, because you can just take it straight. You just raw dog it. It's just easier to take. Just way more convenient. Yeah. Yeah.
Just have your raw dog and egg you.
Straight raw dog.
Yeah. That's like a little shot. Yeah. Just right before the gym. Just a capful.
There you go.
Wow.
Do you normally do? Are you a half capper or are you a full capper?
I'm a full capper.
You're a full capper.
Sometimes I'm a double
That's
scooper.
no cap.
No cap on the Truth Podcast
cap.
is literally the name of the Truth Podcast.
Yeah,
so
no cap podcast. So, did you end up mixing it with any of the new flavors?
I mixed it with I mixed it with the cotton candy EVP Extreme. I know. Yeah, I just shot that straight. I didn't mix it. I shot it straight, and then I took the EVP Extreme and cotton candy flavor. Just
because you've been taking the AQ for a while. Do you notice a big difference when you take it or don't take it?
Yeah. I stay fuller longer for sure. Definitely hydrated.
You can see that hyperhydration.
Yeah, I like the full cap. Also really hits me a lot better than the half. But
yeah, I normally am about half to 3/4, and then if I've been training for a while, I feel like okay, my body can handle a little bit more. Otherwise, I don't like to waste it.
Yeah.
Even though I get a discount.
Yeah, especially when you're
no guy.
Especially when I'm in prep, it really helps because my body, it just hits me way better. My body's more sensitive to whatever I'm taking when I'm in prep. So the EVP AQ really helps, especially when you're just like low calorie.
That's awesome.
It's harder to get a pump.
Well, it's because it's harder to get a pump, and then you're not using carbs to be able to fill your glycogen supply. And that's why when we developed it, I wanted it to be able to use for that purpose instead of having to up the carbs, because when you up the carbs and you create glycogen, then your body's more apt to burn that over being able to burn body fat. So you're like, oh my God, I got to stay full. Now you can stay full without it. So
without having to eat actual carbs.
The extra carbs. And now it doesn't mean that you still can't do that. You still have to work that in its system, but it does help.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's one of the reasons why when I started developing a lot of these products, it was to try to give an edge to all the competitors out there.
Yeah.
People have been asking about flavored AQ for a long time. Yeah. I was finally here.
Is a flavored AQ going to be in Canada too, or is it just the non-flavored?
Yeah. It's going to come to Canada too. I think we have to still do all the weird labeling.
Yeah.
We have to do the French labeling.
The French, yeah. We're taking a lot of the photos for the French labels.
I thought up there it was just a bottle of maple syrup.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what, they do honey and maple syrup there. Yeah.
It's the pretty
Don't give me any ideas. I might make a flavor.
That is a good flavor.
It's already got the texture, kind of.
Maple AQ, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it.
Oh, wow. Canada. Yeah.
Canada. Yeah, don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
But all that stuff is now live. So if you guys are watching the podcast and it's Memorial Day weekend, take advantage of it. If you've ever wanted to try Evogen before, but never have, now's the time to use it. Or if you want to just restock up, now's the time because it's up to 60% off and we're giving away amazing amounts of swag. I don't even know how we're doing it. Hopefully we don't go broke, but
you're going to lose your discount on AQ. You're not going to be able to get any more free bottles.
I'm like, I got cut off from my own supply. Yeah. But between that and the new flavor, man, I've been going crazy on that new peanut butter cookie. Have you tried that?
Yeah. I've tried the peanut butter cookie. Yeah, really good. We
launched that one in Pittsburgh weekend, and everybody that came by and tried it, they're like, "Hey, bro, can I take one of these home?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Hey, dude, your sponsor's right there. I don't care."
Yeah, on the low. Yeah.
That was funny. That was funny, but it was cool. It's great because I always like it when people like go out of their way to be able to say, "Hey, man,
good feedback."
Really it's always good.
The coffee flavor pre-workouts are the ones that
that's hit or miss, man. I'm telling you, it's hit or miss. Some of your younger people's generation but I think it's the ones that don't drink coffee.
I'm not a coffee drinker. Yeah.
Do you like coffee? Do you like it or no?
Actually, both of them are awesome. Very, very, very good. It's just not necessarily my thing. Like I prefer the fruitier flavors pre-workout. That's just kind of always because recently I've been getting up at like 6 a.m. straight, walk across the street to the gym and go train at 6 a.m. And you just rolling out of bed. I think that the coffee flavor is just like, because I haven't been a coffee drinker, it's not necessarily what I go for right then and there. Now, if I train afternoons, I'm down for that. I think it's just like it's a nice, sweet, strong flavor. But usually for some reason, the fruity flavors are just kind of like my go-to for early morning, which I know makes no sense because most people want coffee in the morning, but they are like bomb. They're really good because, and I prefer sweet coffees if I'm going to have any kind of coffee, like ones that have caramel in them and chocolate and all that stuff. And these,
it is sweet too.
Yeah, these actually taste like that, which is really impressive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, blow my mind.
Yeah, it's really hard. It took a long time to get those flavor systems right.
That's got to be the hardest flavor to make for
100%. Because
nail down.
You have so many actives that you have to cover up, and you don't understand that until you start doing it. And then you go, oh my God, this stuff tastes like shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got to get this to taste good. Now, are you going to make it perfect? No. But how close can you get?
Yeah.
I think we got pretty damn close.
I don't know how much closer you could get.
Yeah.
I think if someone gave that to me at Starbucks, I wouldn't even think like this is pre-workout.
Which one is your favorite?
I like them both, man. Like honestly, like
because we have the mocha and we have the caramel frap.
Yeah, I like them both. I don't even prefer either of them.
Both of them?
Yeah, just both. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that now we have 3D so that even if I want the taste, I can turn around and have the pump without having the extra stim. So where before it was all an extreme.
Yeah.
So now you can.
Yeah, I sip the 3D while I train actually.
Do you?
Yeah, the coffee one. Yeah, I like to sip it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on board and coming on to the podcast because we've been talking about doing this for a while. And it's always just an extra step of information and connectivity when someone's here. So, I love doing the ones on Zoom, but at the same time,
it's a little different.
If I had my choice, I'd always have them in person in the studio. So again, is there anything else that you want to shout out to while you're here?
No. I'm good. Yeah. Shout out to everyone that came to watch the video, watch the podcast. This is my first podcast ever. So
Ever?
I've
never with Bradley. You never did the one with
No, never. No.
That bastard.
Yeah,
Bradley
I know.
Martin.
What a prick, man. Prick.
Bradley. I'm going to call you. It was his birthday the other day.
Yeah, it was.
And, but shout out to my son. So if you ever go back and watch this, Cameron, 10 years old today.
Yeah.
10 years old today?
Happy birthday, Cameron.
Happy birthday. That's awesome.
Yeah. It says,
very cool.
Can't believe time flies.
Yeah.
10 years
crazy.
old. He's already trying to talk me into getting him a car. So
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, get good
reasonable
grades.
10-year-olds.
Yeah. Get good
GTP
grades.
for him.
Yeah. About 6 years left.
Yeah.
16.
Just pass the Viper on.
Yeah. The Viper.
Yeah. Just pass the Viper on. That's an easy first car.
Try to get your foot down there. Do you know how to drive a manual?
My buddy showed me like a couple months ago actually, so I could semi do it. I could like if someone said you got to get home tonight and you only have a
what's up
manual
with
car,
you guys? What's up with these guys from Canada? Between you and C-Bum, you guys
drive manual.
Well, he says he knows how to, but he's not like super comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not ripping a track or anything in manual.
It's just not like needed now. I only learned because I bought one. Didn't even know how to drive it off the lot. So like I bought one.
Kuklo showed you.
Yeah,
right?
I bought it and forced myself to. But if you don't need to, like there's they don't even exist really anymore. You have to go out of your way to find one. It's amazing millennial and Gen Z theft prevention because if you buy a manual,
they're like, what is this?
You can leave it unlocked. They're gonna hop in there and be like, oh, okay, bye. I'm out of here.
You don't even know what is this wizardry?
I can't even put it in neutral to push it. It's just I don't even know how to operate it.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. Again, thank you for coming on. Hany Rambod. I got Austin and I got Devin Bernardo here, and that's the truth.